So the first debate has been fought, and the Prime Minister's key tactics seem to revolve around the claim that Labour would increase the average household's taxes by £2,000 a year.
Inflation is back to normal, wages are growing, taxes are now being cut. Keir Starmer would put all that progress at risk. He would put up everyone's taxes by £2,000. £2,000 in higher taxes for every working family in our country. After all the hard work and sacrifice we've been through, that's not the right course of action. I don't know why you want to put up people's taxes.
The Conservative campaign seemed to think of this as a bit of a strategic win, with the Tory party Twitter accounts taking full advantage. Well, the message from the Conservative Party is clear, as we can see in this Twitter video. An enormous piggy bank floating across the sky of a major UK city. The cost of the Labour Party. Well, as Rishi Sunak said last night, if you want to vote Labour, you'd better start saving. But the question is that really true? Rishi Sunak claimed these figures came from impartial civil servants in the Treasury. But it has since emerged that's not entirely the case. While it is true that civil servants at the Treasury did review some of Labour's plans, the £2,000 tax claim comes from a document called Labour's Tax Rises, which was put together by Conservative advisers, only in part using costings produced by the Treasury. This morning, the BBC obtained a letter from the Permanent Secretary to the Treasury, James Bowler, to the Labour Party claiming that Tory ministers were told those claims should not be presented as being having produced by the civil service. But the key point is that Labour hasn't yet published its manifesto. So it's really impossible to say how accurate the claim is until they do. People might say these are dirty tricks from the Tories. Although, in fairness, on the other side of the fence, Labour does precisely the same thing. This was Shadow Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Darren Jones, last week.
Well, look, the Conservative Party has set out a number of policies in this first week of the general election campaign, which is over £70 billion of unfunded spending commitments.
Very tenuous claims there being made by the Shadow Chief Secretary, but since repeated by Shadow Cabinet colleagues. Yet, just as with the Tories costing Labour before their manifesto is published, this is Labour doing precisely the same thing. The Tories are yet to publish their manifesto too. So to try and clear up this almighty mess, I spoke to the City Minister, Bim Afolami, earlier this evening. Bim Afolami, Treasury Minister, there's been a lot now today about the issue of costings, about the issue of tax. The Labour Party is accusing you of lying.
Well, I'm afraid we're not lying. We're being incredibly straightforward. And frankly, the Labour Party, if they had been honest with people in the debate yesterday, if Keir Starmer had been honest with people, or indeed if they were honest with people before or after the debate, they wouldn't be in the trouble that they're in. It's because they want to hide the fact that they are planning over £2,000 of tax rises for working families, and that is wrong.
It was an extraordinary moment this morning when a letter was published, was revealed from the Permanent Secretary to your department, the Permanent Secretary to the Treasury, asking your government to not use this £2,000 figure, to not use the annual £38 billion figure, saying that this wasn't compiled by the Treasury. It includes costings that didn't come from the Treasury. Is it wrong to use that figure?
No, it's not. And actually, that's not what he said. What he said was there were, in fact, a majority of the costings that were done came from Treasury analysis. Not all of them. Some came from other government.
I've got the quote.
Some come from. No, hold on.
The quote directly from James Bowler is costs beyond those provided by the civil service and published online by HMT. You're using costs beyond those that the civil service provided you.
But we never ever said that the overall £38 billion figure was Treasury analysis. That was done by analysis from the Conservative Party, but that analysis was done using independent civil service forecasts, in addition, by the way, to Labour Party's numbers themselves.
This has opened you up to the accusation that the party is lying. The Shadow Chancellor said as much earlier today.
The Shadow Chancellor is not being straight. She has had every opportunity over the last 4 years or so she's been Shadow Chancellor to set out her plans for the tax rises that they're planning for the British people, that we have clearly documented is going to be just over £2,000 per working family. If Keir Starmer has another number, he should come out and present it, because there are 27 costings there that are done mostly independently by Treasury civil servants, also Labour Party-owned figures and other government departments. The key reason why they've spent the whole of today trying to obfuscate is because they know that Keir Starmer has been rumbled. And that fact is why they're panicking, because Rishi Sunak, in the debate yesterday, gave Keir Starmer every opportunity to explain where his tax rise is going to land, how much extra borrowing he wanted to do in order to fund his promises, and he refused to do so.
Keir Starmer said that there'll be new taxes on schools, that there'll be new taxes on non-doms, and that there'll be new taxes on the oil and gas sector. Those are three areas where he was explicit that there will be tax raises from the Labour Party. It's simply wrong to say he didn't say that the Labour Party wouldn't raise specific taxes.
But the sheer number of things that those three comparatively small taxes are supposed to pay for is just so many. You couldn't even list them on this programme. The key thing is this. Labour has been rumbled. They are planning tax rises of more than £2,000 for working people. And in an election campaign, they have to be honest with people about how that is going to impact their finances.
Isn't the problem with the Conservative Party doing this sort of analysis of the Labour Party that also the Labour Party is doing this sort of analysis of the Conservative Party? They say that you have a £70 billion black hole in your finances.
I mean, I've no idea where on earth they came up with that number. I suspect they came up with it with the same place that they're saying that we're not being straight about their £2,000, working families tax rise. Everybody knows the truth, right? Everybody knows. We're doing this now in an interview. Everybody in Westminster, all senior politicians know the truth, which is Starmer has been rumbled. They have been planning this tax rise on working families to fund their priorities, not the priorities of the British people, to fund the Labour Party's priorities. And Rishi Sunak in the debate last night showed the country that that was their plan.
Most economists say that whoever is elected as the next government will need to raise taxes, that no one's sums really add up. And doesn't it take the biscuit when Conservatives stand here saying the Labour Party will raise taxes? After all, it's been the Conservative Party over the last 2.5 years that has frozen tax thresholds, dragged people into higher tax brackets, and therefore issued high tax rises on ordinary working people.
But there's a difference. A very big difference. Because of COVID, this country had to spend over £450 billion protecting the people. The government had to spend over £450 billion. Because of Putin's illegal war in the Ukraine, the government had to spend over £90 billion supporting people's paying their energy bills. The difference is, taxes did rise in order to help pay some of that back, because we all know that nothing comes for free in this world. But we have now committed to a path to bring taxes down and bring growth and economic growth up. The Labour Party wants to do precisely the opposite. Taxes up, growth down. And that is the wrong path for our country at this juncture.
It's true to say the Conservatives have announced a shift in those frozen thresholds for retirees so that the state pension will not be taxed. But you haven't made the same commitment to those in work. Why not?
Well, our priority in the Treasury, I can tell you, has always been to cut taxes for working people. That's why we've taken a third off national insurance, a third, in the last two fiscal events, the budget this year and the autumn statement last year. So that is our priority. We've been very clear about that. But it's also true to say that people who are retired need security and dignity in their retirement. That's why the triple lot, we increased it by about 9%, almost 9% in April. And we're making sure now that the basic state pension will never be taxed. The Labour Party, that's another tax. Sorry, I forgot about that. The Labour Party wants to tax the basic state pension for pensioners in this country. Their retirement tax.
That was the Conservative Party policy until about a week ago.
But this is really important, because the only reason why we've had to make sure that the basic state pension shouldn't be taxed is because we've raised the state pension by enough that now it's coming up to that level. And so we're making sure that...
mostly to catch up with inflation.
We're making sure that older people are not going to suffer in their retirement.
But thank you.
Labour will put their retirement tax on older people.
Thank you very much for joining us, Bim Afolami.
Thank you.